interview with the Honorable Roxy Nelson Dapiamekpo, we get the indication some other matters have come up involving one of the issues that we're going to be tabling right now, having to do with the Kpandai seat and the rerun which is expected, and so we'll have to slate that for tomorrow.
All right.
That all-important conversation for tomorrow with the Honorable Roxy Nelson Dapiamekpo. But even as we do that, we know there are other pressing matters up for conversation. TUC and the other labor groups have been raising concerns about the 27%. It's not 20, it's about, you see, 9 points. Is it 8? If you round it up, that's 10. Then you see 16 or 15 point something, which if you round up as well, is almost 16% as well. And cumulatively, you're going to be seeing about 26% increase in utility tariffs starting from January 1 next year. Water in excess of 15%, and then electricity as well. If you do the rounding up, that's like 10%. And the labor group say, look, you gave us 9% in terms of salary increment. Why are we being slapped with 26% in terms of increase in utility tariff? That's not very fair. Yesterday when we were talking about it, before we even get into the details, I was making the argument that when I think about water, even though I am tempted to want to agree with why the Ghana Water Company Limited might need an increment like that, the causes or the factors which bring about such astronomical increase for the Ghana Water is still within things the government should be able to do.
That's right.
Which is Galamsey. Because the water treatment plants which have come under severe threat, some have been shut down and what have you, it is all as a result of Galamsey. Who must fight Galamsey for us? The government.
Indeed.
And so, yes, Galamsey is causing us to have to spend more in the treatment of water, which by a stretch you can say, well, the Ghana Water will need more money to be able to treat the water. But if we dealt with the subject matter of Galamsey, then we will not have to be spending so much to treat the water, and then that cost will not have to be passed on again to the citizenry. And so, even though I was tempted to agree, I'm on second thought, I'm thinking, look, if we've dealt with Galamsey, then we'll not be having this conversation at all. For electricity, I don't know. I am not in full support as to the near 10% in terms of increase in tariff.
I think these comments are definitely in tandem with a lot of what I've seen on social media and beyond, and other conversations that we monitor, because increasingly it feels as though all of the wahala is being heaped on the consumer when we are being made aware that there are systemic issues which cause these inefficiencies that you and I have to deal with. Is it fair? Is it fair for governments past and present to not deal with these issues instead of doing the age-old thing of passing on the buck to the consumer, and these systemic issues still continue to linger? Talk about our water issues and Galamsey. I mean, how amazing would it be to, really drill down into that canker of Galamsey to ensure that, one, not only do we have water, but we're drinking water that is wholesome for consumption. I'm paying more for water that I can't even vouch for.
You can't even drink.
I can't even drink.
Heavy metals.
Heavy metals. I was in Takrady in August. I opened the tap.
Brown, eh?
Hey! I mean, sometimes you're in Accra and maybe the water has been treated to a level where you can't really see.
These days, when the water even flows, sometimes
you see it. I mean, I was scandalized to even brush your teeth. You have to get yourself some pure water to rinse your mouth, to brush your teeth. It was, I saw it feely. You don't even know. So to add that on top of the woes is something I don't think fellow Ghanaians, we have to contend with. We have to fight this. It's really the not so sexy work of governments. Sometimes we put.
It's a very interesting one.
Yes, that's the part of the job that is not so sexy. Drilling down and finding out what not even finding out, we know what these issues are, actually dealing with these issues. When we talk about ECG, for example, we are being told about procurement issues that have a knock-on effect on you and I, power theft, so that if power theft is prevalent in one particular area or the other, you and I will have to pay for that shortfall in revenue collection. I mean, so many different things that culminate in us always having to bear the brunt of what is going on. Now, you juxtapose that against the conversation that, yes, we're seeing that macroeconomic stability, but is it even really trickling down into our pockets? If that kind of macroeconomic stability finds its way in our pockets, you can say that, okay, then there is some reprieve, that even a hike can be cushioned because now we're feeling things reduce at the market, so that price has come down. Whatever you were spending are not spending as much as extra disposable income. But you put all of this conversation together, it's not a surprise that you have labor unions up in arms about what it is that we are seeing in terms of the hike. Now, back to even water. Is your tap flowing? This morning, as we speak, is your tap even flowing?
It doesn't flow 247. So I think what happens, and I think it's in major parts of our life. If you have a poly tank, that saves you. So the tap flows on Wednesdays, and then it flows on Saturday, Sunday, and then it goes off and comes back on a Wednesday again.
But some of us, we don't even rely on that schedule because, like you said, poly tank.
If you don't have
those
a
who have done a borehole and so on and so forth, you don't even know the schedule because you don't even. Are you even relying so much on that schedule?
And there are people in Accra who have to buy water. So if you are around Adringano or Ashalibuche, you see a lot of these water tankers moving in to supply homes with water. Then I know in parts of Ablekuma, Fuama and the likes as well. That part, the Ghana Water Company Limited's connection is yet to reach those parts of town. And so when I was there, we're buying water every time. We buy water. You call in a tanker, is it 300 cedis, and then you buy water.
Exactly.
And if that doesn't last you have to buy again.
Exactly. If you're in a household with a lot of kids, kids have to go. So you can't wait. You can't wait for that. However many days for the water to be turned on for you to collect, you have to consistently have water in the home.
The tap is not even. It's not like the connection from the Ghana Water Company's distribution doesn't reach that part of town.
For you to even be on a schedule.
For that part is all. So water tankers are always on the road supplying homes with water and what have you. That's what the situation is, and so. Well, you can argue to a stretch that those people might not be paying that near 15% or 16%, which has been slapped. But what we understand is that these announcements, this almost 10% and 16% increment, is annual. So until the next major tariff review annually, tariffs are expected to go up by those percentages. And before there is the quarterly adjustment as well. So it's like double header. As this is an annual increment, so at the start of 2026, we'll get the 15.7 and then 9.6.
Okay.
All coming. At the start of 2027, that will take effect again. Now, within the years, unless I'm mistaken in terms of the understanding, within the years, then there will be the quarterly tariff adjustment as well. So within the year, there will be the tariffs being adjusted within the quarter.
What role does the IMF also play in some of these adjustments?
That was a part of the conversations we had, that tariffs must reflect the prevailing circumstances and what have you. And so it's been built in such that quarterly there is that adjustment. We're yet to see downward adjustments, particularly for electricity. Water has remained, I think, in some reviews within the quarters of this year, water remained where it was. It didn't see any upward movement in terms of adjustments. It stayed the way it was. But electricity, it stayed consistent. It's always been in the upward trajectory, actually. And the sentiment is one too many. We cannot pay. For the tariff and a lot of the things, I pay particular attention to it. So I follow it from time to time. Whenever there's a upward adjustment, whatever the reviews come by, I'm on the dashboard, on the screen, somewhere on the TV, talking through it and doing that. So I know there's been reviews. For water, it stayed the same.
Okay.
In some parts. That's why I didn't really have a problem when I saw the 50 until I decided that, no, we can actually deal with Galamsey so that we will not have to suffer such astronomical increases in terms of tariff. But for electricity, it stayed consistent. And the challenge has always been the inefficiencies with the system and the operations at ECG. Granted that since this government took over, there's been a certain level of responsibility in terms of the administration there. And yesterday I saw Alfred on Twitter asking...
In fact, surprise, I was just about to open his page.
The PURC about the cash waterfall mechanism. They hadn't provided updates for about 2 quarters or something. They provided the updates, and there's been strict compliance with the cash waterfall mechanism, which means that for everybody within the sector, within the energy generation mix, they are compliant. When ECG receives the revenue, everybody gets a share. That's why we've not been hearing the independent power producers and what have you complain that, oh, we don't have money, we'll shut down the plant, and then they will say Doomsaw, Lumen, as IPP. We've not had any of that this year. That's been good. The finance minister as well reported increases in revenue collection by the ECG as well. And so that means a lot more money has come through to be able to pay these independent power producers for the power to stay on. We've also got hints from the energy ministry that, look, they've tightened the noose around them, that there will be a central account which does the collection of the revenue, because first there was 99 accounts which was collecting ECG revenue at some point in this year, which were revelations which were made known to us either this year or somewhere last year.
I think during that transition period, we got that intel. Before
there was a whole saga about missing containers and what have you. So it was a lot earlier this year as well. There's been regulations to tighten up the space and ensure that is taken care of. There are other issues about transmission losses and what have you. We haven't gotten word on that score as well, so that we know whether or not the cleanup is happening. Because if you listen to the labor groups, they say you cannot bring the inefficiency of a company to us to be paying for every year. And it is a sentiment everybody agrees with, because around the table, the consensus is one that there's a lot of mismanagement that happens at ECG, from contracts being signed and things being bought when we don't need. And so if that is being taken care of, then you can begin to have a conversation with the utility service, not the labor groups, that, oh, we've done X, and that, and why, and this is the job we've done. We've cleaned up the space. We've been able to save this amount of money. Money is going here, so there will be stability in terms of your energy supply. And in the long run, say about 2 years' time, tariffs can begin to reduce. Then there will be some justification, like there's a clear plan. But right now, all we know is that, okay, there's been some good work done. We can't continue to be paying in upward trajectory
for these
forever.
Inefficiencies. Talk about some issues concerning procurement breaches, like you said, paying for things that we don't even need, when those monies could be reeled back in so that you and I don't have to consistently pay more. When you mentioned Alfred, I almost thought you were talking about data scientist Alfred.
No, he's actually the one I was
fantastic. Now, he also had a contrary perspective about what the TUC had to say to government. You recall?
He said they are against the salary increment has been eroded.
Exactly, that 9%. So he had this to say, and again, Alfred is a data scientist, no stranger to our platforms. He says, I'll always support Ghanaian workers getting paid more, but we also have to stick to the facts. What he goes on to say is that workers don't spend all their income on electricity and water. According to the CPI weights, housing and utilities make up about 10% of the average household spending. And the share for electricity and water alone is even smaller. Hence, a 9% increase in base pay is not the same as a 9% increase in tariffs, which is, I think, important to also compute. The computation was being made simplistically that 9% increase in tariffs has eroded that 9% increase. But he is saying that the CPI tells us, the Consumer Price Index tells us that we don't spend all our money on utilities. About 10% of our money goes to that, if that. Now, he says that comparison of that 9% against 9% only works if workers spend all their money on electricity and water, which they don't. So the recent water and electricity tariff adjustments do not cancel out the base pay increase. Contrary to what some people are claiming, it's not giving 9 cedis an increase in base pay and adding 9 cedis increase in tariffs. I think that particular distinction or conversation has its place for sure. It's too simplistic to say you've given us 9% increase, and so that 9% increase in base pay, and so that 9% tariff adjustment is wiped out. Now, whilst I don't disagree at all with that assertion that we have to get the facts straight, I still don't believe that we should continuously be burdened with the inefficiencies of these institutions, especially when the canker runs deep. Talk about water. We've said it time without number. Fix some of the deeper issues, Galamsey, so that we can have some reprieve. Even if it's only 10% that the average worker is spending on utilities, what crime would I have committed if it's 2%? Why not? What would be the big deal? That would be even extra reprieve so that we can use those money towards some more productive things, and the average Ghanaian can have some disposable incomes. But the TUC, the other bodies, they're not happy with this announcement at all, and I think that in future conversations, we're going to see things heat up. You've got the Ghana Federation of Labour as well, talking about how unfair these tariffs are. These are the conversations that continue to dominate with the labour force.
Absolutely, and we'll seek to engage with the Trades Union Congress. They yesterday addressed a news conference where they were raising these concerns very strongly and asking questions. Even though Alfred has provided this clarity, it will be very important to put it to them as well. We are not in the court, but we just
we'll put it to them.
We'll let them know this additional detail so that perhaps they'll amend perhaps their position as well. But let's get on to the other line. Kofi Kapito is with the Consumer Protection Group. He's joining us as well on the latest as we're discussing on this utility tariff increase and whether or not the customer is worse off, right? Mr. Kapito, good morning. I trust that you're doing well.
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Yeah, fantastic. And it's good to have you join us this morning. This near 27% increase in tariffs that we're seeing as announced by the PURC, the understanding is that this is going to be annual until the next major tariff review again, and within each year there will be adjustments again made in the quarterly basis for tariffs. As a consumer protection group, how do you take this?
I take it that I think PRC, the utilities are not being fair to their customers at all. Look, let me tell you what. They talk about major tariffs, right? What is the essence of the quarterly increase and the major tariffs? PRC, by their mandate, should increase utilities every quarter. So when they talk about major tariffs, nobody has explained exactly what the major tariffs are. And I have an insight. This is when the utilities bring a lot of reasons why they should be allowed to increase. Something like, even if they are going to build new offices. Okay, if you are building a new office, why should the consumer pay you in advance for you to build your new office? The Ghana Water one that even annoys me the most is the reason is because they need money to buy chemicals to purify the waters. The question is, now who calls them? We have a regulator. Okay, we have a ministry. You have all the institutions that are supposed to make sure that we get clean water. They talk about the IMF conditionality. The IMF conditionality also tells you that your people should be provided with clean and uninterrupted continuous supply of utilities. How come the PRC is not looking at that? If you look at the mandate of the PRC or the law that sets up the PRC, it is there to protect both the utility provider and the consumer. For the longest time since I've been around, I don't know when PRC did something in favor of the consumer. So the question I'm asking them is, first of all, they should come again with a better reason. But for them to tell us what they are telling us, I don't buy it. We're written to them requesting that they should tell us even how they reach that percentage. Because they say first of January,
yes.
We have the whole December. We are also seeing what our options are. At the end of the day, I mean, I've been to the court to seek an injunction against PRC before. Maybe we might do it again because it doesn't make any sense. All I'm saying is fairness is fairness. Yes, maybe you need to increase, but you also need to make sure that I, the consumer, get what I am paying for.
Right.
I don't think that is so difficult. So go fix whatever your problems is. 3FM, with all due respect, when you were setting up this radio station, maybe I'm a business. I want to bring an ad to 3FM. Is 3FM going to tell me that, oh, if you want me to go and buy a microphone, or because I'm going to buy a microphone, give me money in advance. When I buy the microphone, before I can come and grant you the interview. That is exactly what they are telling us. And to me, enough is enough.
I want to hold you and then bring as well Mr. Chunibo Akodia on the other line. He is the vice chairman of TUC as well, because they are also raising some concerns in relation to this latest announcement in tariff. And by the way, it's 15.92% for water, and electricity as well, 9.82%. Mr. Kodia, thank you as well for joining us. For you in Labour, you say that what? Government is eroding whatever gains you were given in terms of salary increments for the next year? Is that the argument?
Good morning, my brother, and good morning to your listeners. It goes beyond just eroding whatever government has given to us. It borders on somebody ensuring that PURC lives to its mandate, ensuring that both the consumer and the provider their interests are fairly protected. And it also ensures that PURC also operates within the mandate or the law given to it. And you and I are responsible for ensuring that they work within those limits. Now, let me start by saying that PURC, over the period, they've had their way, and Ghanaians have not really interrogated what they come up with. Now, every quarter, they have a duty to adjust tariff. And the law gives them four main variables to use: inflation rate, exchange rate, cost of gas, and then energy mix. These are the four major tariff variables that they consider in adjusting tariffs. Last quarter, third quarter of this year, these indicators were so favorable. Inflation rate was favorable, exchange rate was favorable, cost of gas was favorable, and all our analysis with them, for the first time, utility rates should have come down by 22% for the first time last quarter. Then PURC introduced two new variables into the equation, which was just by their sole discretion. They brought in cost of reserve margin and then cost of liquid fuel. And we said, no, you can't do this. If for the first time your equation is saying that reduce utility bills for Ghanaians, so be it, do that. But what happened? We saw a 2.45 increment in utility. This is the quarterly one, the third quarter. Now, what has happened is the major tariff review. That also takes into consideration the four variables I mentioned earlier on, plus cost of operations, cost of maintenance, cost of HR cost. TUC said, let's sit down and interrogate these things and see which ones can be applied. And so somewhere in September, we met PRC at Aliza. And it's a very broad meeting. So we said, let's sit down at a clinical level and then do the analysis before we come up with a tariff that would look fair to Ghanaians. And PURC accepted. Indeed, they sent us a message that engagement will happen on 8th of December, which is just yesterday. But surprisingly, 2nd of December, you announce on your own, you announce new tariffs. Subsiding the engagement we're doing to ensure that whatever you are coming up with protect Ghanaians. And we feel that this cannot be right in this country. Somebody must ensure that our rules and laws work. And so that was our first.
There's been bad faith exhibited by PURC in that you didn't conclude on the conversations that they promised you were going to have in arriving at these tariff announcements, and then they proceeded to do it nonetheless.
Yes, obviously that's what has happened. And then our second argument is this: when we were about negotiating for this new wage, government gave us all the assurances and promises that inflation will not erode whatever we will get by way of increment, and that exchange rate was stable. And we tried very hard, but government kept that argument, and we had 9% increment. Now, even before the 9% kicks in, workers are going to start paying this new rate come 1st January, when even the 9% is kicking in at the end of January. It's very obvious that this new rate would erode the 9% given to the poor worker. But the worst is that because PURC adjusts their tariff every quarter, come first quarter, PURC will come again and look at the situation for a possible adjustment. Come second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter, what will be the impact of these reviews on the 9% that government has given to the poor worker, knowing that the worker has only one opportunity to negotiate once a year? And so this requires a broader engagement to ensure that the consumer has the ability to pay. It's not only about doing the tariff upward. The consumer should have the ability without.
Right.
I think conclusive. We're not saying that Ghana Water doesn't need money to fix the Galamsey, muddy water. They are all saying we appreciate that difficulty. But recent part, you also saw what happened in Parliament when ECG was subjected to the Public Accounts Committee, and the amount of money that in quotes went to areas that didn't really really, where it wants to classify it as application or application. These are the same operational costs, internal costs that must be integrated so that if it's possible that the consumer doesn't carry all this burden, we segregate these things to make life easier for the poor worker.
The argument, and this one is to the both of you, is that you've alluded to the difficulties with the Ghana Water in particular in being able to treat these galamsey infested waters and water view. There's a temptation to want to argue and argue strongly that, look, consider these and for instance, on the waterfront, that argument should hold in terms of water treatment. I'll start off with you, Mr. Capito, first before I come to Mr. Chunibo Akodia.
Yes, I'm listening. Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, you see, that argument doesn't hold water. Like I said earlier, we are in this country. When we saw some individuals being mischievous, that's why we have regulators and authorities for them to make sure that the life of the Ghanaian is protected. If somebody went to sleep on their responsibility, like I told you earlier, maybe, genuinely, maybe we might have to pay something small. But the question is, they haven't given us the guarantees that when we pay, or even when we agree, all our troubles will go away. They are telling us about their troubles, right? What about our troubles? That even when they tell you that they are rationing water to your neighborhood, right? And you get water maybe twice a week. Master, sometimes the whole month you don't get the water. It's a promise that is broken. If I'm going to get the water, why not? But I'm not getting the water. Electricity, still there are some power outages somewhere. Okay, ECG still hasn't brought down what is called the commercial and technical losses, their percentage, which is hovering around 24%. The international standard is about 11%.
Right.
So how come PURC always allows the utilities to come and cry to us, we the consumers? Look, consumers' responsibility is you use, you pay. I don't have a problem. Okay, but when I'm not getting the satisfaction of the services that I'm buying, why are you asking me to pay more?
Right. And for you, Mr. Kodia, in answering this as well, I just want you to add on to what next steps you're willing to take as a group in ensuring that these concerns you're raising are addressed immediately by the PURC, because you've alleged bad faith in one hand as well.
Well, it is our expectation that government will listen and we come back to the table and ensure that whatever we are coming up with would be fair to the poor Ghanaian worker, and that the Ghanaian worker will be able to afford and pay, and also be able to maintain their duties or family duties. It is just right that we begin to interrogate what PURC comes up with, and I'm happy the discussion has started. We should be able to help Ghana Water in particular to overcome the current burden they are carrying. And like my colleague just said, should the poor Ghanaian be the one to bear all this burden? This question should be answered by all of us.
Right.
And I feel that discussion should start. And so for us, we are believing that government will listen, and it will suspend the announced tariff. And when we all go through, we are sure that whatever to come up can be sustained and paid by the poor worker, and it's fair to the process, and even to also put in measures to ensure that some of the wastage in the system are all blocked. Then we will be fair to ourselves as Ghanaians.
And for you, Mr. Capito, you say there's a likelihood you will be headed to court to seek to injunct the PURC and the implementation of these tariffs.
Definitely, because you know what, the courts are there to solve issues for people who don't come to an agreement. The question is, PURC has a responsibility to us So they should be able to tell us those responsibilities. How would they guarantee it for you and I? So the next time when we pay our bill, once you open the tap, the water will flow without any interruption.
Absolutely.
If you pay electricity bill 24/7, the light should be on.
Right.
All those wastages, all those things that sometimes even their own building of their offices, they want the consumer. They want the consumer to pay. It's a no. Look, every business, right? You do upgrade, or you do thinking, or you do investments, and then after the investments, you can say, okay, because I have incurred extra cost, it is fair for me to share it with my customers. Let me give a little example. You remember this dollar CD issue, right? Even when the first increase was done, okay, the dollar was at a certain price. Now it's 12 cedis. All those gains, we need to get it.
Right.
And let's see that it is fair. All I'm saying is that I want fairness.
Absolutely. I appreciate you both joining us for this conversation. That's Ken Trinebo Akudi as the Vice Chair of the Trades Union Congress, Kofi Kapito as well as the CEO of Consumer Protection Agency. It's not the last, I must say, we're going to be having this conversation in relation to this utility tariff, but I appreciate you joining us this morning on the 3
But before you go, let me just tell you something, right? It's about time that the media houses, I'm glad that you called this morning.
I can hear you, Mr. Capito. Right. It does appear I may have lost him on the telephone line as well. I'm going for this quick break. When I return, I have two guests in studio. We'll talk the Kpandai rerun pretty shortly, the legal implications as well as from a political analyst perspective, what this could mean for either party. Stay with us here on the 3FM Sunrise.
Having trouble dealing with ticks, mites and fleas?
92.7 3 FM. 92.7 3 FM. 92.
Hustle, pressure. Now it's time to breathe, to dance, to feel again. The music hits, waves crush, energy rises. You're surrounded by good people and golden light. This is your reset, your freedom, your joy. 3FM All White Party, the beach edition, where paradise meets the party. Labadi Beach Hotel, 28 December. Lock it up. It has been long. Deadlines, hustle, pressure. Now it's time to breathe, to dance, to feel again. The music hits, waves crush, energy rises. You're surrounded by good people and golden light. This is your reset, your freedom, your joy. 3FM All White Party, the beach edition, where paradise meets the party. Labadi Beach Hotel, 28 December. Lock it up. It has been long. Deadlines, hustle, pressure. Now it's time to breathe, to dance, to feel again. The music hits, waves crush, energy rises. You're surrounded by good people and golden light. This is your reset, your freedom, your joy. 3FM All White Party, the beach edition, where paradise meets the party. Labadi Beach Hotel, 28 December. Lock it up. It has been long. Deadlines, hustle, pressure. Now it's time to breathe, to dance, to feel again. The music hits, waves crush, energy rises. You're surrounded by good people and golden light. This is your reset, your freedom, your joy. 3FM All White Party, the beach edition, where paradise meets the party. Labadi Beach Hotel, 28 December. Lock it up. It has been long. Deadlines, hustle, pressure. Now it's time to breathe, to dance, to feel again. The music hits, waves crush, energy rises. You're surrounded by good people and golden light. This is your reset, your freedom, your joy. 3FM All White Party, the beach edition, where paradise...
92.7 3 FM.
Electoral Commission that an exercise of the powers conferred. And for those of us on Facebook as well as on YouTube, we can read just excerpt of that statement or that letter from Ebenezer Ahuma Jetro, who is a clerk to Parliament, to the Electoral Commission, that an exercise of the power conferred and the duty imposed on him as a clerk to Parliament by Article 1125 as amended in the 1992 Constitution, he do hereby formally notifies the Electoral Commission of the occurrence of a vacancy in the membership of Parliament occasioned by the order of the High Court Tamale for a rerun of the Kpandai parliamentary elections given on the 24th day of November 2024. I've been joined in studio by Austin Bracco Powers, a private legal practitioner, as well as a political expert, Professor Smart Sapong, who is also the Director of Research and Innovation, the Kumasi Technical University. Gentlemen, good morning to you. I trust that all is well.
We're doing well. Eric, how are you?
I'm Ukraine. But Mfama Ebimo, because there's that. But let me start off perhaps with you because of the legal perspective that is associated with this. Parliament has written to EC now, and so the expectation is that the Electoral Commission will commence processes for the rerun to happen. But we know there are two pending cases as well, none of which has been heard. Put that in perspective for us and what possibly could happen as things unfold the way that's unfolding right now.
Well, Eric, let me say a warm morning to your listeners and those who are watching via social media, particularly YouTube. And I think it's an intriguing development, one that has gotten a lot of Ghanaians speaking. And I'm sure recently we heard from the chiefs. Some chiefs, which many say are not representative of the entire traditional leaders in the constituency. But Eric, the position of the law is clear, and the Constitution is clear. And the Constitution is that the Electoral Commission and Parliament have a duty. So Parliament has a responsibility that where there exists a vacancy, Parliament is enjoined to inform the Electoral Commission, the basis of which the Electoral Commission will outline roadmap towards either election rerun
or a by-election.
Yes, a complete election or a by-election. In this instance, that is what Parliament has done. And I am mandated by the two processes so far pending before the court. One before the Court of Appeal, which is an appeal, and the one before the Supreme Court, which is a judicial review application. But Eric, the position of the law is clear. Whereas such matters, the knowledge of which will prevent private individuals from taking subsequent actions, when it comes to constitutional matters, it does not. What I mean is that until a court of competent jurisdiction, properly so-called constituted, makes pronouncement as to the forward march of a particular action, the constitutional bodies have the duty to do their work, as if they've not heard, they've not seen anything.
Well, where does that fall within that school of thoughts that if someone serves notice of a particular course of action and wanting to stay proceeding, I know there have been two schools of thought. One argues that you stay your action pending the determination of the courts. The other says that you can proceed nonetheless until the court so makes a determination.
No, so stay, as you well intimated, stay
is not an injunction.
Stay is one injunction. It does not operate automatically. That's what it should be born out of the conversation. It does not operate automatically, and it must be granted. Stay of execution must be granted by a court of competent jurisdiction. And the position of the law is that until the records of appeal is transmitted to the appellate court, in this case the Court of Appeal, if you want to stay any order or judgment of the court, you must first start off from the lower court where the order or the judgment was so made. Then if it is refused, then you go to the appellate court or the Court of Appeal.
Right.
Now, the thing is that until the court makes pronouncement that this judgment is stayed. Parliament
and the EC can
and
proceed.
the EC have a duty to perform, and nothing can stop them.
Let me come to you, Professor Smart Sapong, on this subject matter. Dicey in terms of how the elections could go. We've already seen the minority states their position clearly on the subject matter and the accusations they've leveled thereof. But in the scheme of things, the politics as we've seen it play out, how well does this Kpandai rerun hold some water for either of the political parties?
Yes, Eric. So, good morning and a very good morning to our cherished listeners and viewers on social media. Very interesting development. I'll start it off with the kind of sudden nature of their case. I'm told it started some time ago, but I mean, Parliament has so been sworn in. It's in force, getting to like a whole year. We felt that those cases that we kept hearing of, the Tema Central, Tema West or Tema Central one, the Ekwetia one, some of those cases, the High Sawem,
those ones were dealt with quite
they were
quickly.
The cases that we knew.
They were the dominant
cases. We didn't know. In fact, it came as
a surprise almost.
To me that, so for all this while, close to a year, Kpandai case was pending before the Tamale High Court. So that is something I take notice of. So quite sudden, but I mean, the court perhaps was taking its time to go through the book so that it can make a determination that is reflective of the situation. Then my second concern is in respect of the irregularities. So I was thinking that they had identified some 42 polling stations,
which was a subject matter
of the court.
Yeah.
And my question this morning to my good friend, this same lawyer, was that if you are a court and you are confronted with 42 out of 150 something, 58 or so polling stations, does that form a basis for annulment of the entire process? Assuming all the 42 were found to be, characterized by irregularities and so had to be dropped, I was thinking it would have been like the Ablikuba North one, where those specific polling stations were instructed to go for a rerun. But then I get the impression that perhaps the court is vested with the power to determine whether, looking at the 42 or the rest, or the 150, there were substantial determination or findings that points to irregularity across. In fact, I have also learned that the change of the collation center alone constitutes some kind of breach. And then,
it's a statutory breach.
Okay, so it constitutes some. So the court would have looked at all these things in coming at the determination it came. Yes, it has come. The appeal processes have commenced. I've also learned from lawyer this morning that it is a constitutional body versus another constitutional body. Parliament, unless stopped by a court of competent jurisdiction, can perform its duty as a constitutional body. The EC has been notified. It can also go ahead and perform it until any other determination by a court of competent jurisdiction. The latest bit is the chiefs and the people, some of the chiefs and people of Kpandai kind of objecting or resisting the call for a rerun. And I asked myself whether the chiefs have that capacity to be asking those things. And my caution is that, you see, when it comes to party politics, we are told by the Constitution that chiefs must stay themselves out. Carefully so, to maintain the kind of dignity and respect we have, the reverence that we have for that institution. And so I feel it is a test case for them. If they were chiefs from the Kpandai area, perhaps they would have been careful how they went about it. We still respect them. They have a point somehow. They want the security and peace of the area. We all know what comes with reruns and by-elections and all those things. For all you know, they are mindful and careful with some of those developments. That's why they are kind of hesitant in accepting. But if it becomes the position of the law and the law takes its course, I'm not sure in such a classical party political decision or conversation, the chiefs may want to. So, kind of an appeal. We respect them. Perhaps they should just monitor things and see how it goes. But to enter into the arena and say we are going to stop or we don't want rerun, Eric, that one is quite some way. They have to take note of that. And it is an extended appeal to all chiefs elsewhere, including the recent Achem Esum Kurunti Hene,
who's been making some very
chief. Look at it, Eric.
I've seen except of some brother believe
they should be spoken to. You see, you bring yourself out like that and you are denigrating your own institution. Anybody else can come out. And
because you open yourself up for attacks.
Yes. So it's in the wisdom of the framers of the Constitution that institution, and in fact, it's a very important institution. It's so check what Menchia is doing with the long-standing Boko crisis.
Yeah.
And we pray that the report that will be submitted to the president on the 11th of December will bring some form of finality and lasting peace to that area. And that is why those sub-chiefs and smaller chiefs must learn. Please, when you want to do politics, go abdicate your seat and come out full-time to come and do. But don't be seen in chieftaincy regalia or representing chiefs of Kpandai or something to engage or to be found to be engaging in it. Will not help going forward, and so they should be properly cautioned. As for political parties, yes, they will try the legal process, they will protest, but I'm sure under the cover they are doing some level of preparation. If you check the elections results for Kpandai, Matthew Yindam won with about 3,443 or so, 44 votes. 3,400 vote gap difference. All other things be equal, if you would even drop some of the votes, if they were genuine votes, if you would even drop some of the votes, it shouldn't be to the extent that he may lose.
You don't see if that rerun were to happen, he would lose in it.
Yes, all other things be equal.
Right.
All other things be equal. Human minds do not change like that. And I know that or let me put this thing on record, all by-elections or reruns usually favors the sitting government because at that point they have all the resources. In fact,
machinery of the states
Eric, they can answer all the challenges of Kpandai within 1 month.
Easy.
Kpandai is one of the districts with deprived or poor roads. If the government identifies some of these challenges and decides to fix them
overnight,
and we all know all means possible, they will go all out. But I mean, it becomes 50-50 in such an instance. As for Ablekuma North, you realize that the votes that were outstanding could still tilt things. That is why I wasn't of the position that it could be a serious fight for the MPP lady. But for this one, Matthew has been a long-standing member of parliament. I'm sure
he actually retired the NDC's long-serving candidate for the constituency.
Yes. And so I know, yes, they will do it's part of the politics actually. We won't do this one. Yesterday I saw the General Secretary of the MPP in Kpandai meeting with the people and say, we won't let them come here and come and do all those things will go on. But if it becomes the constitutional position that the rerun must occur, very soon you will see the EC come up with timelines and blah, blah. If you're a political party, you fall in and you try to organize your base and see how the day will turn. It's not going to be too easy for the NDC candidate, except that they have the resources now. And if the people say, fix this for us and let's vote for you, they can best fix it. And we have seen overnight road constructions and a lot of developments. So that is it. Interesting, but we hope to see and we want to see how the days
but in terms of and this is still these conversations are pending what the determination of the courts could be. Would it have any serious political implication for any of the parties? So for instance, NPP wins, this becomes a push for them to want to begin to believe that things are not all that bad for us, and so we can begin to make the charge towards and doesn't this come at a time which can confuse things a bit for the NPP? We know their primary is in January.
Yes. And
if this by-election is going into January, then it could bring about problems. I'll pick your thought and then I'll pick that of Council.
Yeah. So yes, it creates some kind of complex situation, but I mean, it's also an opportunity to learn. What do you do under situations like this? If it's the first time the MPP is coming across a situation like that, it will be an opportunity for them to learn. Maybe if the EC keeps to the timelines, it means that rerun will occur before the presidential primaries would occur. So they can, all the flag bearers could go there and assist and rehearse, police the ballot process, the counting and all those things as a precursor to the 31st January one. But then if in the course of the preparation we hear something from the courts, the appeals court or the Supreme Court, as lawyer mentioned, then it leads to the EC holding on with its preparations to, then perhaps they can focus on the presidential one, and then maybe based on what the outcomes will be, have enough time to prepare for the rerun if it becomes the case. So yeah, for me, every challenge that comes gives you an opportunity to learn.
Right.
And so they must take it, learn from it. Once they go through it, we hope it doesn't happen again in future. But if it happens again in future, you would have had the experience to handle and manage things like that.
Also,
Eric, so my position is that if the rerun was to be conducted and the MPP emerge victorious, that would not be symptomatic of a major comeback.
2028 is still very far away.
Yeah, we have a long way to 2028. So it would be too early to rejoice.
Yeah.
You get it. But like Prof said, I think it's an opportunity for the MPP to learn. You know, the thing is that sometimes events, you can be overtaken by events.
Yeah.
So it is for you to now adjust your processes. And I'm sure if, like Prof intimated, if the EC faces a date for the rerun, they will have to find a way of adjusting their processes, even if they will not change their date as they have already communicated.
As for their date, I doubt it's going to change.
I'm not sure they will change because they've already communicated to the grassroots, particularly the delegates.
The option they have, the most probable option they have will be to defer Kpandai as a constituency.
Okay, for their election.
Their 31st election be deferred so that they can have full focus on the rerun. And then their presidential election can be pushed to somewhere February or somewhere.
Okay.
So all the remaining 275 or so will vote in their flag bearer, and then they will do theirs later, and then their outcome will come in added to there. So it will be like the time one when everywhere was cool except time.
Yeah, but that one, the outcome will most likely be known before.
And the thing is that it will really change a lot of their processes. And for me, if there's any advice I'll give it to the MPP, to be that they should pursue the appeal and the case before the Supreme Court.
But then they're in the constituency campaigning as well.
Yes, that's what Prof said. The thing is that now the Constitution is working until Supreme Court or the Court of Appeal
comes up with
say anything.
Different thing.
Go ahead and campaign. Otherwise, the NDC will, because the NDC is conducting it, is yet to even conduct its primaries. Very soon they issue a statement inviting people to apply. So the MPP has no excuse. Don't be in the media crying foul or crying hue and trying to whip public sentiment. Public sentiment about the decision of the court. And the thing is that I always tell people, if a court can make a right decision, that court has the same power to make a wrong decision. So we should not be sitting somewhere and be saying that the court has made a wrong decision on the basis of which you are castigating or chastising the judge in the media. That is not the case. If the judge has made a wrong decision, it means that judge can make a right decision. So if you find the decision to be wrong, go on appeal, which you have done. So leave the public commentary. They should stop making, trying to incite their members. When Supreme Court upheld the election of John Mahama, what didn't people see? But the thing is that the court has spoken. If you have issues, go on challenge. So I think they should desist from public commentaries, further public commentaries on this matter. whilst they subtly pursue this appeal and the judicial review.
Yeah, I like the subtly. So the public commentary would be something on the surface.
Yes.
Whilst they go
exactly do the work.
But politics, because of politics,
they must do it.
They will do the.
No, that's what I'm saying. They are further straining their relationship.
With the courts.
With the court, because you are attacking them. If you go ahead.
But the courts are used to.
No,
depending on who is in government, the courts have been bastardized.
And the thing is that, I mean, the fact that it's been done.
Yeah, it doesn't make it right. Yeah.
Because that's not how. Sometimes I also tell colleagues, sometimes even my juniors, that see, if you are given opportunity in the media, be cautious of your commentaries because even you are an officer of the court. So Prof, I agree. They should go and campaign. Eric, go and campaign whilst they marshal strategies to pursue the other means. Other than the NDC, I'm telling you, like Prof said, they will change.
But what would it change? Just like it won't change much. No. I mean, you have the 2/3 already.
Eric, the thing is that it's not for the NDC. Now they've gone beyond the 2/3. They are not interested in the 2/3. They just want to assert their dominance. Assert their dominance that we showed you where power lies. You get it? And that is what, and if you've heard commentaries from the party functionaries of the NDC after the court decision, they are ready to go in on seat Nyindam. They are ready to take
it was an incumbent Nyindam unseated.
Exactly. So they are ready to go back to reclaim the seat.
Right. Last words before you run out of the seat.
Yeah. So for me, it's interesting, but it has come to that. The NDC is teaching the MPP some lessons and they must learn.
Valuable lessons they must learn.
Valuable lessons they must learn. The good news is that here in Ghana, the NPP and the NDC would continue to dominate for a long time. So, they have to actually take their notes and be observing closely and learning from what is happening. The fact that you had maybe 169 did not mean then
that someone will not come and get 184.
Get it. And even be yearning for more. So there are a lot of lessons. The approach to reruns and by-elections and all those things are also notes that the MPP will need to take. They will definitely come to power one day. Definitely. Ghana has always been.
The dynamics will always be.
So let's learn daily. Politics evolves daily.
Right.
And so this will be part of the evolution daily. And then when they get the opportunity, they will know how to handle situations better or maybe equal to what the NDC is doing.
Right.
But I don't wish one day we have a parliament that is maybe 200 over or maybe 2 something.
200 over
76.
It's possible.
Or maybe 220 versus.
Per what it is that we've seen, you can't dispute it. If you misgovern to the extent which you could see.
And the MPs should also advise themselves. Sometimes I sit back and I wonder why some MPs are comparing themselves to some MPs. There are some MPs whose seats are largely safe.
Exactly.
So yes, it is. So currently 185 plus. Please watch your seat carefully.
Guard it jealously.
Don't be following people whose seats are safe. If you don't guard yours jealously,
they will come for it. Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining me in the studio as well. Austin Bracco Powers, a private legal practitioner, and Professor Smart Sapo, Director of Research and Innovation at the the Kumasi Technical University. I'm always tempted
the best technical university for almost 8 years running.
Fantastic.
In Ghana. Oh, in West Africa, we are, I think, the 11th or so thereabout. In Ghana, all the universities ranked put together, public, technical, all put together. We are number 7.
That's good.
That's
so you take out our fathers, the Legons, the this ones, and we are not challenging them. We don't. But it's emphatic to state that for best technical university, your best destination is the Kumasi Technical University. Admissions are still ongoing. I hope you not give me invoice.
I'll give you invoice. Thank you very much.
Unfortunately, we do doctoral, PhDs, we do masters, all the courses. It's a full university with a full capacity. We award all the degrees from PhD to the undergraduate program. So.
Thank you very much. It's time for us to thank you. This I will not give you guys. It's time for us to bring you Womanpreneur right now here on the 3FM Sunrise.
3 FM 92.7 3 FM.